You won't believe how one ordinary afternoon changed everything. For me and a man I barely knew. There he was, sitting on that cold bench just outside the coffee shop, weathered and worn, clutching a small cardboard sign that read, "Veteran, homeless, any help appreciated." Most people walked by without a glance. Some even stepped around him as if he were invisible. But not that day. Something about the injustice of it all, the way life had thrown him aside after serving his country, hit me like a punch to the gut. I thought, there has to be a better way, and maybe, just maybe, I could be the one to do something about it. Little did I know, what started as a simple act of kindness would spiral into a life-changing journey neither of us could have predicted. It began in the bustling heart of the city, where ambition and wealth often overshadow the struggles of those less fortunate. The man, let's call him James, was quiet but dignified, his eyes telling stories of battles fought both abroad and at home. Meanwhile, I was wrapping up a meeting with a few of my business partners when I noticed James again, shivering in the cold, ignored like a ghost. I tried to strike up a conversation, but he was guarded, wary of strangers. Then, out of nowhere, an entitled passerby, a sharply dressed woman with an icy stare, shoved past James, muttering something about loitering and ruining the neighborhood's image. It was petty, cruel, and deeply unfair. I could feel the tension rising in the air like a storm about to break. That was just the beginning of what was about to unfold, a twist so wild it still makes my head spin. What followed was something out of a screenplay. The woman, who I later learned was a wealthy neighbor obsessed with controlling every inch of her block, started an all-out campaign against James. It began with complaints to the city, citing loitering and public nuisance. Fines appeared on James's meager possessions, and once I caught her slipping something suspiciously like a poison bait near his usual spot. I wasn't sure if I should laugh or cry. This was absurd. The tension escalated daily, with neighbors either turning a blind eye or whispering behind closed doors. Meanwhile, James kept his quiet resilience, weathering every insult and setback. There were small wins here and there, like when a kind barista slipped him free coffee, but mostly losses, like when the local shelter refused him due to capacity. I knew then that justice wouldn't come on its own. I had to step in to fight not just for James, but for the idea that kindness and dignity still matter. The battle was only heating up, and I was gearing up for the comeback of a lifetime. The plan was simple but bold. First, I gathered evidence, photos, videos, witness statements, anything to expose the relentless harassment. I reached out to local veterans groups and community activists, rallying support. Then I launched a social media campaign, cleverly using the neighborhood's own obsession with appearances against them. We put up signs around the area that read, "Honoring those who served" and "Compassion over cruelty," turning the tables on the antagonist's narrative. Quietly, I arranged a fundraiser to help James secure stable housing, all while the neighborhood's gossip mill churned with rumors of an impending showdown. The calm before the storm was almost poetic, watching the once confident oppressor start to falter as cracks appeared in her facade. It felt like watching a chess game unfold, where every move was deliberate, calculated, and full of meaning. The climax arrived in a community meeting packed with neighbors, local officials, and reporters. As the woman launched into her usual tirade, I calmly laid out the evidence, photos of her sabotage, testimonies from witnesses, and heartfelt words from James himself. Time seemed to slow as the room shifted from skepticism to outrage. One by one, the neighbors who had stayed silent began to speak up, condemning the harassment and demanding change. The officials announced penalties and new policies to protect the vulnerable, and the woman's power crumbled right before our eyes. I couldn't help but smile as I watched James, finally free from the shadow of fear, take the floor with a quiet but powerful statement: "No one who served deserves to be forgotten." Justice wasn't just served, it was delivered with slow, satisfying precision. Looking back, this story is more than just about one man or one neighborhood. It's a reminder that standing up for what's right can change lives, sometimes in ways you never expected. Kindness is the real currency, I often say now, and this experience proved it true. What would you have done if you were in my shoes? Comment "Justice served" if you stuck with me to the end, and let's keep this conversation going. After all, the world needs more stories where empathy wins, and a little poetic justice is always the sweetest ending. Like and subscribe for more insane stories.